And that's the one thing that we are also trying to do is get to let the women know that they are veterans, they do rate benefits, and everything's started to be tailored to them. As I say, we have 3 lady members of our commission.
That's right, Secretary Chatter, and that's a very good point. Because if I didn't bring it up, I'd be in trouble when I got home, because my wife is a veteran also, spent 22 years in the Army. And we have a number of women veterans, and their issues are very important. And sometimes they get neglected, but it's something that with 3 women commissioners on our commission that we don't get the opportunity to forget, because they make us aware of those at all times. And I want to bring out the point that the vice chair position, he's very humble and modest, but he's been a judge. And in that respect, he keeps me out of trouble on the board, so I'm very happy for that.
My legal fees are very modest.
One of the things that we have noticed is, and one of our goals is certainly outreach to veterans. And we certainly want to provide them with the support and the benefits that they have earned. And we're finding out as we go out into the community that a lot of them are not sure about what's available to them and how they get this support, or they think they're not eligible for it. And what we've been trying to do on this program is to inform veterans that don't have any of these preconceived ideas. Go out and you can contact Family Services, which would get in contact with us at the Commission for Veterans, as well as your local veterans organizations. They're there to help you and to support you, and that's one of our goals. You had mentioned earlier a web page. And if our audience is interested in finding out more about the commission, how would they do it in getting on the web page? Where is that located?
The easiest way to get on the web page is to go to Prince George's County's official web page for the county, and you'll actually see underneath there is a selection for boards and commissions. If you bring up that selection, the Veterans Commission will fall right out, and you can click on that, and that'll bring you directly to the Commission for Veterans. And
as you were saying, we meet the first Monday of every month.
That's correct.
And we're very interested not only in veterans, but in veterans legislation. And we had some guests not long ago who came in and talked to us a bit about what they were doing and looking forward to as far as legislation is concerned within the state of Maryland.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the folks that we've had as some of our guest speakers?
Sure. Matter of fact, we started off with Senator Doug Peters, who represents the 23rd District right here, where we're sitting. Came in, he spoke to us. He actually sits on one of the Veterans Commissions or boards there for the state and is in charge of that. So we're very happy to have Senator Doug Peters, because he actually is a veteran as well. And so we're very, very honored for that. He's came out and spoke. We're looking to have Senator Curry come out. We're also looking, the Lieutenant Governor actually has been out once. He held a meeting right there at Family Services Department. Some of the commissioners were there for that, and that was more of a opportunity to give a number of our veterans who are also police officers the opportunity to talk about the problems that they have, because a number of the police officers were members of the National Guard and Army Reserves and were deploying to Afghanistan. And that brings certain challenges to those families. So it was good for the governor the Lieutenant Governor to hear that from those individuals. We've had a number of individuals from the county services, such as the housing department here within the county. They came out and spoke to let us know that they actually instituted for the first time a voucher program where they were able to get vouchers from the state to provide veterans, specifically homeless veterans. They started out with, I believe, 20 vouchers the first time. It took a long time for them to distribute that initial 20, because it was a matter of getting the word out. Well, after that word got out, those 20 were distributed. They were able to get 35 more vouchers for homeless veterans from the state. And believe it or not, within 2 weeks, those 35 vouchers are gone. And to the point that the state is so proud of what they were able to accomplish that they're looking to be recognized for that effort, and we're going back asking for some additional vouchers because we still have homeless veterans on the street that we need to provide housing for.
And how would they go about doing this if they're in need of if they know of a homeless veteran or need some assistance?
The first thing they need to do is they need to approach the county's housing assistance office. Miss Michelle Lyons, there at the housing office, is handling this program and is doing an outstanding job, and she will direct them on what they need to be able to do, but in coordination with both Washington, D.C.'s housing assistance and our office, they're doing very well in assisting our veterans.
You might point out, too, that we meet again the first Monday of the month. We now have developed a hard core of citizens, veterans, who come to our meetings, every meeting, and we certainly appreciate that, and we wish their number continues to grow. And I know both of us, all of us, would like to thank those people who take time out from their schedules. There really is an area of gigantic concern in this, and it adds to what we said earlier in this show. We really would like to increase the number of people who come and become active in all the veterans organization. That's the way you really keep tabs on what rights are owed and what veterans issues really are. And we'd like to see, obviously, we'd like to see more racial diversity. We'd like to see more young veterans. We'd like to see more women veterans. And if I, leave and perhaps preaching to the choir or on the show and watch it, that's the future of the veterans movement, is in those areas.
Chair Turner, we also had Delegate Melanie Griffith that came.
Yes,
that's exactly correct.
She's president or head of the
chairman. She's
chairman of
of
the delegation, and then Senator Peters is now chairman of the Senate delegation.
That is correct.
So we've had two very high-powered, and so that shows that they have their interest in veterans. And we point out too we're not really there's a lot of things that we want, but we put our efforts into a couple. Hope to get them passed, and we're going to be working very diligently this year to get the slots bill passed.
That is correct. That's a good piece of legislation that we're looking at. And I must not forget that we also had a member of the school board that came in at our last meeting. Linda Thomas came to talk to us about the outreach program and helping us get to the schools so that we can afford the school children the opportunity to learn about the military, so that they realize that it is a way of life. It is an opportunity. And for us here, it was a good way of life.
Right.
I do recall the meeting with the with Delegate Griffith.
No.
And she stated that she was going to welcome us later on in the year to meet the entire Prince George's delegation and express the issues that we had as far as veterans were concerned.
That is correct. She actually invited us up to Annapolis to meet with them, and I think that's an opportunity that we collectively as veterans need to take. And whenever there's an issue that's being presented up on the state floor, we as veterans need to show up in numbers. Just as Senator Doug Peters said, it's numbers that matter. We as veterans have to be involved in those issues that are of interest to us, and we have to show up in full force. And as long as we do that, the numbers will allow us to get a lot of the legislation that we're working on. And I believe Vice Chair Devlin, he works on a number of those legislation with also Commissioner Gwen Parker. Maybe could talk to us a little bit about that legislation.
I try to testify on as many bills as I can, and I represent the local DAV. I'm legislative chair for the Joint Veterans Committee, co-chair with George Creighton, and I'm legislative chair for the Marine Corps League. We try to go down there as often as we can, as my case, my work schedule permits. And I might point out that they have now in the General Assembly called a Veterans Caucus, and Chairman Turner mentioned that a few minutes ago. This is legislators who are both veterans and non-veterans who are brought together because of their desire to work for veterans. And the House chair is Delegate Marianne Love across the Patuxent River in Anne Arundel County, and Doug Peters is the chair of the Senate legislative, co-chair, the Senate co-chair. And Senator Peters is also a member of the Budget and Tax Committee, which handles money appropriations.